Let's start with the throwdown. 1 o'clock. A team who unveiled the banner, a team who legitimately believe they're the best team in the league. They got a big lead on them. Melbourne come back. Dellavedova's first time in front of his home fans. It had everything, Liam Santa Maria.
It sure did. This rivalry is, you want to talk about next level?
Yep.
Game after game, these two teams match up. It's going to another place. And credit Matthew Dellavedova. He was a huge part of this game. We know what happened with Mitch Creek. We'll talk about that. But his efforts to bring Melbourne back, and so was the Great Wall of China. Oh, my God. 22, 10, and 7, an enormous impact. And then things went nuclear when Mitch Creek baptised Matthew Dellavedova. Mason Peatling got involved, and it was on for young and old. And this has been brewing ever since the end of Game 2 of the semi-final series, when Mitch Creek told Mason Peatling he'd see him in Game 3. And here we are at this point where everything's bubbling over and this rivalry is entertaining all of us as we watch on.
There's a new sheriff in town. The best team in the NBL that's based in Melbourne is the green and white team. Regardless of what the score was and how many times Melbourne United rallied back, that team in the green and white was never not in control of the game. There's a new sheriff in town. Yeah, Goulin was out, but even with Goulin, they would have lost this game. This team right here will be in the grand finals. They are on a mission. They are loaded. They played both ends of the court. They were focused. They did not want to lose this game, and they were not going to lose this game. There's a new sheriff in town. And that dunk, no, we're going to get into it, but that's the greatest dunk in the history of the NBL. Period. I'll wait to elaborate more on that. That is the greatest dunk in the history of the NBL.
Go now.
Here's why. Mitch Creek, borderline NBA player, played in NBA games, going up against an NBA champion, one of Australia's own, who's come back to play in the NBL. Welcome to the NBL. This ain't a cupcake league. Great you jumped and you put your body on the line, but he's a ghost now. He's a ghost. He got bodied. That was the most disrespectful dunk and most beautiful dunk at the same time. I felt 2 years ago, Cam Oliver, not Cam Luke, Cam Oliver had the greatest dunk. This topped it because it's Delly in it and Mitch Creek, and this is his first home game back.
It was an extraordinary dunk. The way he tucks his legs up to underneath him and gets all that kind of... This photo, beautiful. Shout out to the photographers who captured these moments. And here's the fan question, C-Lane32. Where's Mitch Creek's dunk rank in the all-time best NBL dunks? I've still got it number 2. What Cam Oliver did to Craig Moller and Jordan Hunter was biblical. And you're right, there's more to this because of, and here it is, you see.
Hey! Oh my God.
This is a double poster. Do you know what I mean? And it doesn't have all the backstory. It doesn't have the context of the crosstown rivalry. Delly and all he represents as a 3-time Olympian, and Creek not making that Boomers team. And I'm not saying that that was in Creek's mind, but it all, for all of us watching on, it plays into it. But I still have Oliver number 1.
Oh, what I'm going to do, all time, you got him number 1.
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to spend 7 days. I don't have a great deal on. I'm going to do 7 days of going through all the games of all time in this great league.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give my own top 5.
I've got some suggestions for you.
Yeah.
Now, we're talking about posterisation.
Well, I also want to...
Because James Smith dunked over and around people for the most. But Prather on AJ Ogilvie. Chill on Shencha.
Possibly.
Marcus Timmins a couple of different times.
He'll almost be certainly. I almost guarantee that Leon Trimmingham will be in the top 5
a couple
as
for
well.
him.
Isaac Burton, but I will do it.
Carrick Felix.
Carrick Felix's dunk on Abercrombie. I'm telling you, we're a prisoner of the moment.
Did a damn near riot breakout after those dunks.
Well, that's right.
I go back to the 80s, possibly. Let's find out. I have got a little bit of bad news for Matthew
Definitely in the
Dellavedova.
80s. If you go in the 80s, for sure there was a right.
That is, we change the backdrop each and every week. That is going to be a constant. That's going to stay there for the entire year.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I'm telling you. Well, you can't. I'm not arguing how great the dunk was. I actually feel a little bit for Will McDowell-White, and we're going to get to him later in the show, but his dunk
that is very
would have been
true.
number one almost any other week in the top 10 plays. So that's how it is. I just want to give, before we do move on, I just want to talk about the actual play. If you can throw it up again.
Yeah.
What I liked about it, and the three of us were in the building, which is very rare with so many other stuff we're going to do. Liafa did the right thing, dumping it off to Mitch Creek. Mitch Creek did the right thing with the dunk. Matthew Dellavedova did the right thing challenging when many wouldn't. Mason Peatling did the right thing for feeling he was disrespected.
he did the right thing.
I'm telling you.
He didn't do the right
You know
thing.
what?
Talk to us, Cam. Why do you say he did the right thing?
Now, in hindsight, we're like, oh, well, Peatling got thrown out, it might have hurt the result. But Mitch Creek is standing over Matthew Dellavedova, which I'm 100% all for emotion in sport, okay? Peatling come over to fly the flag for his teammate, who he felt at the moment was being disrespected. Had he have not gone over, we would probably have been sitting here going, hang on a second.
But going over and knocking him to the deck are two different things.
Agreed. So if he went that tiny smidge over the line, but the respect...
you said he did the right thing.
Well, I'll say that. Yes, he did the right thing. But the respect he will earn in the locker room of doing what he did and what he believed at the time, hindsight's at the time, the joint's bubbling, the joint's going absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
Goes over, knocks him out. Mitch Creek did the right thing jumping up. Liafa stood up for Mitch Creek by going to Peatling. There's going to be fines thrown around. The referee tried to do the right thing by tugging on Mitch Creek's jersey. We sit here and we say, oh, Mason Peatling did the right thing. And he apologised. Dean Vickerman said that. I think he did the right thing. He felt at the moment that his teammate, the leader of the team with Chris Golding out and Matthew Dellavedova has been disrespected. I'm not saying it's the greatest move of all time for obvious reasons, but you got to stand up for what you believe in at some point. At that moment, he believed in it. Even getting tossed out, did it hurt the team? Maybe, but as Homicide just touched on, Phoenix were in control for so much of it. So I'm not as against the Mason Peatling action as a lot of people are.
I'm not against it because as a teammate, you would want your teammate to do that,
Yeah.
right? But look what it insinuated, right? And Mitch Creek did not step over Delly and disrespect him. He didn't. He didn't step over. Did he look down and scream at him? Nah, that's violation. That's extra. He didn't do any of that. He said in the presser, he didn't even know it was Delly. He was just in the moment. You know what I mean? And who wouldn't be after a play like that? I mean, it was beautiful to watch. It really was. And I'm not mad at what Peatling did.
What you just said is 100% correct. I don't think Peatling's like, well, he's disrespecting Dellavedova as such because Mitch Creek wants to disrespect Dellavedova. He's just like, hey, I feel that Peatling thought from where he was that he was
He
getting
clearly
disrespected.
did feel that. And Creek's first, and I wrote this yesterday, his first moment of his celebration was looking down at Delly, but he quickly made the adjustment, looked up and screamed out towards the stands. Peatling clearly saw that first bit, thought that felt like he was being disrespected. But I think that you can break this up into two parts, Cam. From my view, Peatling did the right thing in flying the flag, but the wrong thing in knocking him to the deck. That's cheap, what he did. Creaky turns around, looks up, and all of a sudden he's getting knocked to the ground. That's cheap. Come up, if you want to get in Creaky's face and say, no, you can't do that to my PG, fair enough. I think the best thing to do there, to show you're not intimidated, is to pick Delly up, get the inbounds pass, go down and score on him and get another stop and try to win that ball game. That's my view. But if you do want to take it a step further, it's too far to just come over and knock him down.
And my thing on top of it is if you do want to take it a step further, push him and look at him. Don't push him and then go away. Stand your ground all the way if that's the case. So that's why I was like, if you're not going to stand there and like really want to do something, then don't do nothing at all.